All right. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I'm just getting the last of my undercolors onto the canvas, and we're going to have a good time today. So, we're going to do a phthalo green and a sap green sort of sky, like an aurora borealis kind of sky. It's going to be really neat. And all I'm doing is covering our canvas. I've already took our Bob Ross liquid clear, covered the entire thing. What do you think about my laser light show? Wow! It's kind of crazy, right? Could be slightly distracting though, so we don't keep it on the whole time. But I'm taking my phthalo green and my sap green, and we're covering the entire canvas. That way, no matter where we touch along the whole thing, it's going to have some sort of interaction with some color. If we're just going to paint with some white paint, we don't want to have any areas of just dry black canvas with no undercolors to mix in with, right? So just getting a little of our sap green, a little of our phthalo green, putting it all over everywhere. It doesn't matter where it goes, just stick it somewhere and work it in. Gotta have it be nice. You hear the roughness? Like my arm is already tired. Gotta wear this like elbow or a tennis bracelet sort of strap just to help, right? Because you gotta put in so much pressure. Mainly because I hurt myself, and this makes it feel better when I paint. But you got to put in so much pressure into mushing all of these colors around, and that way we'll have this really cool, like aurora borealis, mountainy waterfall scene. It's going to be really neat. Really cool. And take a little of our Prussian blue as well and just kind of dump it in around the edges. Maybe we'll have like a nice little blue streak, maybe right through the center. Get a nice little blue streak of whatever we do. Just put it wherever you want. There is no right way, wrong way. Wherever you want it to be is where it's going to be. Mostly green, a little bit of blue. And remember, no matter where you're watching on, this painting is available for sale on my Etsy store, which is paintwithjosh.etsy.com. And if you go over there, you'll be able to purchase this painting right here. It's number 994. We are streaming to YouTube and Facebook and TikTok for Friday Night Freestyle. Got to get the freestyle action in there, right? So, I figured we'd go with like an aurora borealis mountain scene, and who knows, maybe it'll turn out good, maybe it won't. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. So, I'm not going to use a whole lot of colors. Maybe we'll use our brand new Paint with Bram brush, if we can get it nice and clean. Before we go to use it, I filmed a tutorial earlier today with the Paint with Bram brush set, so if you don't have your Paint with Bram brushes yet, the video is going to come out Wednesday, so you better go get you a set. They're pretty nice. Paint with Bram, and if you don't follow him everywhere, go follow him. He's got lots of followers. He's a good teacher. So tell me where you guys are watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? And this 18 by 24 is available for sale. So head over to my Etsy store. It's 40% off, and it's free worldwide shipping. It's how I pay my bills, guys. If I don't mention it, it's for sale. You know, some people get mad. They're like, oh, it's all about the money. I'm like, well, I got to pay bills, right? The energy company doesn't matter. It doesn't care how many followers I have. Let's come in here like this, and let's do a crazy aurora. Just like a, right? Real sharp curve. Maybe go back, load up a little bit more. Less of a curve ending in the same spot, right? And then maybe just a last little guy. Maybe he popped over here off the canvas and then down around, right? Don't have to have it everywhere. And that's all you need. A little bit of interaction of the white paint with the green paint. It's going to allow us to have these very cool things. Now, let's take this big old Paint with Bram brush, and we'll see what it can do. The Paint with Bram brushes. We're going to come in here and just dab in a little extra paint in different places. Doesn't need to be super thick. Doesn't have to be the same in each spot, right? Keep it on the inside and on the outside. It's very important. Very important. We're going to come in, and now based off of our pressure with our 2-inch brush, come in like that, grab it, and pull it. The more you pull it and the more paint that's there, the more it'll streak upwards. It's very cool. Look at that, straight all the way through. Should have gone all the way through this guy too. Very nice. I like it. See how you have all these little interactions and the different colors that we used and we placed down will all change and become different tones as they line up down here, and we hit them with our pressure and they start mixing in with all those greens. Say I wanted it to be a little bit brighter in here. I'd add a little bit more paint. A little bit more pressure. Boom, 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 boom. Just drag it up. Look at that. That's a pretty little scene, exactly how it would come down in my mind. Right? Get that little bristle out of there like that. Very cool. I do recommend the Paint with Bram set. I say it in my video many times. It's an awesome brush set. It's not a paid advertisement. He gave me the brush set for free, so I didn't pay anything. He didn't pay me to talk about them. And who knows, I could have said they were bad. If they were, I would tell you. But they're actually pretty good. They are pretty good. As good as any brush I found at the store, anyway. I mean, what else do you have to compare it to? I don't have any brushes. Right on. Now, let's take a little bit of our same little fan brush, our Paint with Bram brush, a little bit more of our white paint. Let's say maybe there's a little touch of like a far away bit of cloud over here. Just come down, maybe we'll leave a little bit of space in between. Maybe it'll pop up through and just intermix with all those other green colors, right? All you have to do is make a giant mess up there. And if Paint with Bram has a 2-inch brush, maybe he has a 1-inch brush too. He sure does. So let's come in here with that 1-inch brush and we'll just start to mix downward wherever we feel like there should be some brighter color or some darkness. Just let it mix, right? Doesn't all have to be the same. It's constantly mixing with those undercolors that are under our canvas, right? So no matter what, we're gonna have a little difference and it's gonna be awesome. To adjust this thing, it's a little too tight, I think. A little too tight. So, in order to bounce a giant bit of mountain off of our dark canvas, we need a little bit of light color in the background. This is what I was trying to teach my students when we were out in Tennessee. And by the way, more classes have been announced for Tennessee March 9th through the 17th. It's 9 days worth of classes out in Tennessee. And the tickets are going to go on sale, I think, this Sunday. So, not tomorrow, but the next day. Tickets will be available. You might want to get them soon. There's only 12 seats per class, and I have a feeling, I hope anyway, that they're going to fill up quickly. So, let's get in here with our palette knife, right? And we'll mix up our 3 favorite colors that we like to mix in order to create a deep, dark, shadowy color, which I like to use. It's like a real dark, kind of purplish color, right? And you mix that up, and this dark color is going to cut through any amount of light color that we have off in the distance. So maybe we take a bit of that, we come just screaming up through our bit of clouds, and who knows, ooh, this guy just got real tall. He just wanted to be up there, right? No matter what, we take our bit, kind of smush on that dark paint, working in our little sections. Maybe we got our mountain come up here, saving little pieces of cloud behind it. Don't want to get rid of all that cloud back there. Maybe it comes down like this. Ooh, who knows what it looks like, right? Only you're the only one that's gonna know what your little bit of mountain is supposed to look like, quote unquote, right? Because it doesn't have to look like anything you've ever seen. It doesn't have to be realistic. It can look like whatever you want it to look like, honestly. All we do is take that dark paint, kind of scrape it up, mush it around, push it over here, slide it over there, just kind of covering any amount of light behind it. Because we don't want that light to stand out. Then we can take our same little 1-inch brush that we used to mix our clouds up with, right? Remember, tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwiches on a Friday night? Man, I love Friday night freestyle. We get to come in and do whatever we want to do. Sometimes we do seascapes, sometimes we do landscapes, sometimes we do all sorts of scapes. Spacey scapes and different scapes and all the scapes. I think that's why people like me. Because I don't just do just your normal everyday stuff all the time. I show you how to paint cool things little different ways, right? Now, maybe this guy, right? Depending on the way that we're pulling out our brush. So we can take it and we can drag the color out this way. We can drag it back through this way. We can slide it back through or take this guy and cut it off. So there's a little sheer cliff right there before it gets hit again. Right? Maybe it comes down over there. Maybe this guy starts falling off in this direction. Or we're coming down and then we hit and we go off here. Right, taking this whole thing down sideways. It doesn't matter how big it grows, especially on a black canvas. Man, the mountain wants to grow. It grows like crazy. There we go. A little straight down and then to the side, and then we'll have these guys going off the other way. Now, you have to have a little bit of this dark color down, not only to hide what's behind our mountain, right, but to have our bit of highlights be able to grip onto something. They have to have something up there. It can't just be some bare canvas. So now let's mix up some snowy color. We'll take a bit of our white, maybe just a touch of our sap green, maybe just a little bit. We'll make a real bright snowy mix. Right, so if we get our bright snowy mix going, then we can tell how dark we need to make our dark snowy mix. That's a good bright color right there. Now, we need a little bit of brightness, so about half the white, about half the green. And let's come over here. Whoop. We're gonna make a bit darker color, right? It can't be so super dark that we can't see anything. It's gonna be dark enough to stand out. Take a little of our dark mix, and we're gonna mix that guy in as well. There we go. Get this nice deep dark, like foresty green color. Never just go straight colors off of your, straight out of the tube and then on to the canvas. That's lazy. Go back in there and mix something up. Makes it a lot more fun. Now, let's come in and grab some of that deep, dark, greeny, shadowy bit. Let's pretend all of our light was coming in from this left side. So maybe all of these guys have their real straight down little bits of shadowy cliffs back there. Maybe this guy was coming down this way. It doesn't even all have to connect. You don't have to have every piece all covered. And off the side, we'll take our guy and just very lightly graze the canvas with the knife. All you have to do, just scoop up a little roll, go back, graze the canvas. That's it. Let's come back to our white, quote unquote, our white snow, which is very not white. It's kind of greenish, yellowish. There we go. Where are you going to slide down in your little bit of snow? Where is it going, your mountain? Which way is it headed? Maybe this guy, we slide over here, start scrolling down this way. Right? The more that you're just barely scraping along the canvas, the better it's going to look. Maybe we take some of that green, we hit our little ridge, and we start sliding down there. Right? Because you've got to have some sort of greenish color off into the background. It doesn't have to be everywhere, like we said, but it's got to be somewhere. Maybe we come over here with some crazy spires and just jiggle our knife, kind of pull it down that way. That'll give you this little ridge. Very cool little ridge that you can kind of brighten up and change and interact however you want it to look. So cool, right? Never has to be a certain thing. Just get up there and do the jiggle. Do the Josh jiggle. That's what we should do. We should have like a funny little thing, like the Josh jiggle. Get a little bit of our color back on the top of that peak, and then right around here, we'll just slide it down into this little valley. Maybe it wraps around, maybe it catches some form of light over there. Maybe we get a little bit more of that green. Fill it in around the back side, and maybe then just take a little bit of that light right over the edge. Just a little touch, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. You can get it to kind of scrape across, blend like it just peeked across the tip top of that little hill. So cute, you guys. Little bits, right? Then you can go back and mix it all the way back down to however deep you want the shadows to be. They don't all have to be the same. That's the truth. Maybe we picked up our light right there as it rolled over the tip tops of those hills, hiding in that shadowy area, and then we ran out of paint. There was nothing left, right? And then when we're finally out of paint, we're like, okay, that's probably about a big enough mountain as we can do. Let's take our 2-inch brush now. We have to be very, very, very light with this 2-inch brush. If you come in here with a very, very, very light touch, right, we're just dragging up against those colors. We went down, right? Went down, down. In this case, we went down this way. So would we want to go across the grain, or would you want to go with it? Would you want to lay down what you just kind of soften what you laid down in there? Right? Little bits. We kind of went vertical back here. On these guys, we went a little to the side. And I'm talking about the smallest amount of pressure that you can possibly do. And I tried explaining this to my students out in Knoxville. If you got this sleeping baby and we're just babysitting and we just want to go check on the baby and make sure it's still alive, right? Still breathing. And so you just give it the slightest little touch on the cheek, because if you touch it too hard and you wake up the baby, guess who's not painting anymore? And now we're back to babysitting and no longer painting. And that's no fun. I want to continue painting. So don't wake up the baby. Touch it with the smallest, little teeniest, tiniest little touch. And now we come back here and make these guys a little bit more ridgy as well. Just so it's different. It's just not a straight line. You guys know how I feel about the straight lines. There we go. Bang, bang, boom. Very soft. Now, as we're coming in and we soften up our paint very gently in the same directions that we laid it down. You don't want to go across the grain. It's going to hurt it, okay? Now we have to come up and start making our mist. And I get this question a lot. I go, Josh, how do you make the mist? How do you do the mist in your paintings? Well, it pretty much does it all on its own. You just have to let the brush kind of do it, right? Oh, man. It's a good idea. Have some lava everywhere. It'd be kind of cool. So in order to make the mist, right, you're going to come in and start to tap the brush. And this is a Paint with Bram brush. You don't have to use these, but if you do, I know a lot of people just got their brand new sets. He just released it. He got brand new brushes out, and everybody went to go over and get one. And I got given one for free because I'm his best bud. Not his best bud, but we're buds enough that I got a set that I could get and try to test out and show you guys that you absolutely need to get a set. And it's not because we're friends. It's because they're actually really good brushes. They feel really nice, right? It's not about what they look like. I could care less what it looks like. I want to know what it feels like. How well does it drag? How soft can you touch things with the brush? That's what I care about, right? Not about what the look is. Whether or not it's got a black handle or a white handle or a red handle or whatever handle, a stained handle or an unstained handle. It doesn't matter. It's all about how it feels in my hand. What things we can do. Oh, that was close. What things we can do with it, right? Now, as you can see, we've tapped around, gone down, then we turned our brush, we came over this way, just like a clock. If you imagine the center of your mountain is the center of a clock, each way that you go, you have to kind of tap out in that direction, tap out, just like a typewriter, kind of going out, going under, just changing angles. Excuse me, going down just like that, right? Now, let's say there's not a lot of whole bright, I mean, it looks like because of all the bright lights in the studio and stuff that there's a lot of light color in here, but there really isn't. So we need to make a little bit of mist underneath our mountain or another piece of cloud. Maybe there's a whole nother cloud that kind of came in on this side with our white paint on our fan brush. We just pop it up like a heart monitor, right? Doesn't have to be all the same. Just mix it in there, put some over there, maybe leave a little space in between. Drop another section so we'll have some room to mess about with. And we'll go back to our Paint with Bram brush. I'm not gonna have to wash it. All right, I'm just gonna wipe it off on a paper towel. So even though it still looks black, very dirty, it's not, right? We're gonna come over here, we're gonna grab it, and we're gonna mix it down and mix it down. Maybe mix it up, grab some, turn up this way, right? Doing clockwise circles versus counterclockwise circles. You don't always have to spin the same way. You can turn, you can push it up this way, do like this, however makes it easiest for you to get that color around and mess it about, right? Because that's all we're doing. We put some color up there, and now we're just messing it up. We're turning it into a little softer bit of brightness. That's all. We don't need every piece of color to touch everywhere else. I was gonna say to touch itself. We don't need all the colors to touch, right? You wanna leave little areas of darkness, little areas of bright, dark, bright, dark, all throughout the whole thing. That's how you get all this depth. And remember, this is just some background stuff. You don't even care what it looks like. Maybe one person, the person who buys the painting might be looking at every single detail. You know what I mean? Ooh, almost got some green paint on my nose. Did I get any on there? No? Okay, we're good. But in most cases, no one's really looking at every detail so specifically, especially your background foggy mist, right? So don't worry about it, is the whole thing. Don't stress, don't worry about it too much. Now I'm gonna clean off my Paint with Bram fan brush and my 1-inch brush and my 2-inch brush. So we're gonna have all new clean utensils, right? So we can continue our painting journey. And while I like to clean the brushes, I wanna know where you guys are watching from. So tell me, where are you watching from? Over here, over there, over there. Where are you guys watching from? On YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Where you at? Are you in Minnesota? Are you in California? Are you in Florida? In Tennessee, where I just was? Are you over there? Can you not wait for me to just come back to Tennessee and just teach 20 classes? It's gonna be amazing. Literally amazing. It's more like 18 classes, but we round up to make it sound better, right? Round it up. So tell me where you're watching from. We'll come give you guys some shout outs back here. Let's see. Let's see. We don't want the show to go by too quickly, right, Josh? Don't want to go too fast. We got people from Texas watching from Mars. More people from Texas, North Carolina, Utah, Knoxville, Ohio, the Arctic Circle, watching from Knoxville again. We got some Knoxville fans now. Washington, New York, Kentucky. What about you guys over on YouTube? Remember, if you're watching over on YouTube, you give me a thumbs up. You got to give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, less people will see it, right? The more thumbs up we have, the more people are going to see the videos. Alabama, Michigan, Knoxville, Atlanta, Cali, Kentucky, Texas, Broken Bow, Oklahoma, Hartville, Ohio. Man, we got places all over the world watching Paint with Josh paint. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Like, how many people are watching Josh right now, from all over the world? It's insane. right? I try to block it out because if I were to sit here and think about how many people are actually watching me, I don't know, maybe mess up. We all know we've messed up before, right? Everybody's had an accident before, and that's why I try to not purposely mess up, but when I do, I don't try to hide it. I try to show you how to fix certain things, because if you're always perfect and you never make a mistake, how can you ever teach anybody to do something? Of course you got to make a mistake. You got to fail. You have to fail. Failure is the best teacher. Paint with Josh, second best. I'll take second in order to failure. Seriously though, the more you fail, the more you're gonna learn. You're gonna go, ooh, maybe I had too much paint on the brush. We'll do less next time. Or, ooh, that didn't work out. Let's try it different this next time, right? Taking a little of our dark paint, wiggling it down on our brush. And the only reason I'm not using the Paint with Brand brush is because I don't want to smash it up real bad the very first time we use it. And I'm gonna come back and make some really cool trees. I'm gonna show you. So we'll take an old Bob Ross brush. We're just gonna come in and tap in some faraway forest. All you gotta do, tap in like a little heart monitor, up and down and up and down. It doesn't have to be all the same height. It doesn't have to be all the same shape. And then you come back in, you just sort of fill it all in, right? You don't even have to go all the way side to side. But just by filling in a little dark against that light, you create that contrast, right? Where you have light and dark. So bang, automatically draws your eyes to about right here. So let's add a little bit more, because you never know what it's going to look like until we do it. Maybe we'll have a little waterfall, a little stream coming out of these guys in the back. Let's make it a little higher though. All right, we'll adjust the height of our little meter, right? Instead of it being way down here, I've taken it way up here now and continued on with my little heartbeat monitor. So it's just boop, 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 all the way up there. All right, you don't want it to be just a straight across thing. At least I never do. I don't want it to look like some hedges that were trimmed out there. I want it to be all crazy and wild. All these different heights of trees and nuts action out there. That's where it's the most fun. And remember, this painting is available for sale. If you go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and then search for number 994, we are only 6 paintings away from 1,000. And I actually bought the 1,000th painting today. I went to Michael's and I got a big 36 by 36 inch canvas. It's humongous. I'm gonna have to move the cameras way back in the back of the room back there in order to show this show. But the 1,000th show is gonna be an extravaganza. I'm gonna have like a cake, sparklers maybe. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm trying not to set fire to the studio. That's, rule number 1. Don't do that. That's, that would piss my landlord off for sure. I'm probably sure. Okay, we're gonna take our 2-inch brush right here. We're gonna go very, sometimes I say very softly too much, right? It's a little bit of pressure. It's a fair amount. We're kind of bending the bristles. We're not pushing it so hard that we're gonna drag the trees all the way up through the snowy mountains, right? But we're pushing it enough to where those thick bits of paint flatten out. And when they flatten out, they look further away. They kind of fill in all those spaces where the light was down around the bottom. And they're not so chunky, right? I've been saying this whole time, you can't have too much paint on the canvas. It's all about the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. Now, who in the audience knows the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh? Can you comment them below right now? Can you say the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh? If you don't know, they're on my shirt. I don't know that I could get it that high up for all the cameras to see, but it's the amount of paint that we have on the canvas, right? You guys finish before I finish the sentence. You guys have to type it in there for me, because I'll forget. I need your comments, right? It's the amount of paint that we have on the canvas, then the amount of pressure that we're pushing or sliding up, or pushing to the side. And what's the final P of Paint with Josh? Practice. You have to have practice. If you don't practice, how can you expect to be good? How can you're just gonna all of a sudden just gonna pop out that I'm better than Paint with Josh. It's fine. Very first go. Well, sign me up for your class, because I want to come. I'm dead serious. I'll come take a class from you if you're better than me on your very first go. Okay, sign me up. Whatever the class costs, $500, $200, $1 million. I don't have that much, but maybe I'll get a loan. I'll come take your class. It'll make me that much better, right? So I'm gonna take our 2-inch brush, and just like we did back here when we were making our misty fog, and we were going down in a clock-like pattern around our mountain, because our mountain is a round surface, right? In this instance, we're going to go straight up and down, just like a typewriter. It's about 3 or 4 smashes, right? So you come in, you smash. Smash, 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 smash. Each time. Just the top corner of the brush, not the whole brush. Again, smash, smash, smash. Next to it, smash, smash, smash. Smash mouth across the whole thing. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest brush in the shed. I was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L. No, now it's in your head though. It's totally in all of your heads, just like it's in mine. I can't get it out. Oh gosh, it won't leave my skull. Oh, the horror, the horror. Now it's all in your heads too. So now you guys can be in heck with me. Thank you. Welcome to heck, where that song will just never leave your brain. Okay, let's wash off the brush. Now we're gonna come in and we'll do a whole other little cloud, right? We like to work in layers around here at Paint with Josh, if you haven't figured out already. And we're slightly crazy, I think. Just a little, slightly crazy, a little bit. I'm man enough to admit it. I am slightly insane. Certifiably, probably should be not left alone. Insane, but it's okay. All right, let's come in here. And we're gonna dry off our big old paint with brand brush. We're gonna redo the same exact thing, right? We're working in layers. So, remember how we did our auroras, and then we put a little cloud in. Then we did our mountain, then we put a little cloud in. Then we did our forest, then we put a little cloud in. Cloud. Gonna put a cloud in there, right? So let's come back with another little cloud. Let's get a little bit of paint. Don't have to have too much. I mean, look, we barely even touched our white yet. All I kind of do is kind of drag it down. I never want to just get a whole chunk off the top. Oh, good luck. Oh, that's gonna be way too much, right? Way too much paint hanging off the brush. So you kind of mix it down and then you do the wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just wiggle it down through the paint. So you just have a little. You don't have to have a ton of paint on your brush, okay? Now, same thing. Let's come back through our little bit of forest. It was a little higher up here. It popped down a little bit lower, came up a little bit higher over there, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be so much paint. And then we're gonna work it out. Gonna work it out. Ladies, come on. Back in here with the brush. And we start to mix, but we don't wanna make it all the same. So sometimes we push a little harder, sometimes we push less and then move away. So we don't even continue to touch that area. You don't want it to grow too insanely big, right? So sometimes just leave it. Leave it, move on. Get a real bright area. Mix, 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 mix. Meow, 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 meow. I think I've had way too many Red Bulls today. Way too many. All right, we're gonna come up here, mix it up into our trees and stuff. Let that dark color get down into that bright color and just have all these different colors. It's fantastic. Spooky little thing happening out here, right? Very soft, very, very soft. It's like my favorite pair of undies, very soft. I'm just kidding, I don't wear underwear. All right, so we're gonna come back in here with a little bit more of our white paint. We're gonna drag it down through the pile, just like that. You don't wanna have too much paint on the brush, not at all. Let's create a river back here. I can just feel there's like a river flowing. Maybe from back here in the mist, it starts coming out. It starts coming down and getting wider and wider and wider. Then maybe we stop over here and we start coming back this way. And then all of a sudden, we'll have this little shwip schwap of a little waterfall done plop its way right out here, right? Super easy. Didn't have to paint a whole tons of anything. Very simply, we're gonna come back here. We're just gonna start to stretch our little bit of water. Make it flat, stretch it out, stretch it. Stretch it out, right? Bring it back. You don't have to see every single detail of every piece of water that we're out here to paint, right? And then by the time we come up here and brighten this whole thing up, then we'll have a little waterfall come out to the side, over and down, over and down, over and down, over and down. We'll have this cute little waterfall coming out here. Taking these guys, sliding them back. That's all you gotta do. You just have to be a little different than the color around it. That's all. That's all. And then maybe we got a little pool right down in here, let's say. Just a little pool where our little waterfall comes down and rests. Nice little green, little gorgeous little thing happening down here. Now, let's try out this paint with brand brush and let's see how it creates grass, right? Because I have a very specific way about painting my grass. And if this brush works better, I'll switch to these for making my grass, right? So, I grab a little of my sap green, bring it down, a little of my white, because the white is so powerful, guys. You only need a touch, right? And a little bit of paint on the brush. Don't want to have a big glob, just want to have a little bit. right in there like that. And let's come down at this angle, not straight, not up like this, down. So bend, aerobics, baby. Get our squats in for the day. I mean, I'm not going down very far. Hang on, let me. Oh yeah, there's a squat all the way down, right? Let's get our squats in while we're holding the brush. And we'll come back and we'll pop in just a little bit of gracious back here. Just a little grassy area. Doesn't have to be crazy, right? We can even take it over here and just add a little bit of detail right in there. Just a little grass. Nothing crazy, nothing too much. And all of a sudden, with just a couple swipes and a couple dabs, we've created this whole background or mid-ground of our painting. And over here, I'm just gonna take those little tiny bits of grass and just go over them twice. That's it, 2 little swipes. All you gotta do. Now, let's come back. Let's get that paint with brand brush again. Wash that sucker off, a fan brush. And then we're gonna go into a dark mix of paint that we'd like to create. I've already mixed up some of it in order to create our mountains. And who remembers what that dark mix is? As we take these guys and we come down here, this painting is like ripe for fireflies. I can just feel some fireflies out in the midst out here, right? All right, let's do them right here. Let's do a tree right here. So say we came down, a little plop, right? Let's do a downward saggy tree because we'll come pop them in like this. And then we'll just start to work back and forth in a little Z shape. And they look kind of funky, right? I wouldn't leave it like that. Looks kind of odd to me, right? But then you go back and you just kind of fill in your center bit, just a little bit. You want to have them overhanging on each side. Just fill in the center, leaving a couple little branchies pop out, hang out like that, right? That's all you gotta do. A little bit, right? You can either wash your brush, which I don't know why I did. I mean, we can come back in and highlight that guy if we wanted to, but I should have done one more before washing the brush. Maybe we'll put a little guy next to him. Put some bushes underneath them, right? Everybody needs a friend out there. That's what our old Afroed friend would say. Everyone needs a friend out there in the forest. Maybe we give him a little guy. Maybe he got stepped on. Boom, right to the side. And he's an upward facing guy. So we go and we slap our branchies up into the canvas versus down onto it. We slap up into it and we get some cool little things. Now, Paint with Brand brush set does not come with like a bush making brush. So we're gonna improvise and we're gonna use this sucker. We're gonna take it and we're gonna smush it up towards our paint, right? Gathering it all up at the ends of the bristles, all up like that. And then underneath these guys, I'm gonna turn it and rotate, spin and rotate the brush, creating a round shape, right? I'm just rounding it off. That way you can make a cool little bushy shape without having a quote unquote round bushy brush. Very cool. Now, let's come back. I just need to fill in that little bit of our tree back here with a little more of our mix, our blue, crimson, and black. And then I'm gonna add a little touch of our Meaden black as well, because that Meaden black really helps it stay dark. I mean, watch the difference. Look at all that deep darkness. It get darker and darker and darker. That's what you want, those deep shadows to be nice and dark. We're not gonna cover over all of them. You're gonna allow some of them to shine through, but we don't have to see every single thing, right? Now, let's mix up a bit more of our color, which is, what are our 3 favorite colors that we like to mix, guys? Can you tell me in the comments? And I'm gonna sneak a little bit of our Meaden lamp black into there as well. So it's still one of the same colors that we use, the same thing, the same word anyway. But what are those 3 colors? We'll give you a shout out if you know the colors. Let's mix them up and let's see. Let's give it the old college mix up here. You want this one? You got to go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and you can purchase this one. It's number 994. Crimson, black, and blue. Wanda knows right there. We'll pin your comment because she knows. The best mix to mix up to make that real dark color is that crimson, black, and blue mix. Now, once we have it mixed up, we'll come over here and we'll add some bigger trees up here in the foreground. All right? A little bit bigger than these guys. Don't have to take up all the space. Maybe we'll have a big guy, or put a big guy over here and then a couple little guys. Right? All the way down. Right down there. Doesn't even have to be the straightest trunk because we're only using it as a guideline, right, for where we need to go. Come back in, sharpen our brush down. Maybe we'll do another little downward saggy, old school bobby tree, right? Out there, back and forth, and then just crisscross, make our little Z shape all the way down, right? It's very simple. Then you go back and you fill that sucker in just in the middle. Don't need it to be the same everywhere. You want it to hang out in different places and be odd as it's hanging out there. Right? A couple little fat areas, a couple little thin areas. Very cool, little chunky little tree like that. Now, they're not my favorite to paint. I don't know, for whatever reason, they feel like they're old and they're just like, oh, they're just tired. They're just out there saggy and hanging down. So I like painting a couple that are kind of upward facing as well. Right? And if we do the little upward facing trees, we come at it with a different angle of our brush. Right? So we're slapping up at it versus pushing down on it. And I'll do the one side and then I'll come back and show you how to do the back side. Right? We're touching the trunk and we're slapping outward. Touching, slapping, 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 slapping. The more you go out, the bigger your branches get, obviously. Right? So you don't want to go huge on your branches. But just like that. Get a cool looking shadow of a tree, that's all. And it blocks out all of the color back behind there, right? Mix in all that stuff around the bottom. And now you got some really neat little things happening out here. But since we still have all that dark color, onto our little 1-inch brush. Again, let's go in, we'll scoop at it, right? Pushing and scooping up into it like that. Getting all of it up into here. Popping it out in a little rounded shape. A couple little stray bits so it's not just a perfect circle. And just like that, you got your little scene popping out in the middle of nowhere with just a couple brushes, right? Just a few. And maybe if we can get him, this would look really cool. We could get these guys to like hang down, dip down over the edge of our little waterfall scene. Put some rocks in there maybe, be really neat. Pop a little rock here. Maybe we'll take a couple of these guys, knock them over the edge, let them hang down. They're trying to get to the water down here. Who knows? All right, add a few more little pieces and we'll call it done. Take the last little bit of our darkness. Come up, cover over some of our waterfall with some rocks. You have to have some bits of rock in there. It's got to be holding up all that land. Right, out that way, wiggling it. Cutting it in, leaving all that dark area. Right, you have to have it dark, and that way it'll pick up on our highlights. Boom! Couple little pieces to highlight in the front, we'll be all set, guys. Let's take our little brush, by the way. I'm gonna switch so I don't have to clean off the other one, and it doesn't really matter for the shape because we're only using it to make a little mix of our splash of our water. Just smash in some paint right here. Come back with our brush, very lightly, mix it up. So gently, right? All it is a little splashy mist at the base of our water. Boom, that's it. A little piece, a little bit of mistiness, right? Have it fling up like this, softens everything down, leaving a little dark spot underneath. We can go back and fix that part later, right? Now we can come in and grab a little of our white and a little of our green in order to make our shadowy mix, right? We needed a shadowy side, so we'll put that darker green behind off the back, not everywhere, just a little off the back of this guy. Doesn't have to be on every single piece, doesn't have to be so bright. Nothing has to be anything, really. All right, now we'll come back with our lighter color, which is that brighter mix of the greenish bit. Doesn't have to be the same as what's on the mountain. We'll come back here, drag it down, just a little touch, a couple little bits over the edge, right? If it's too bright in a certain place, just go back over it a few times. Mix it up, drag it down. These cool little things happening out there. Not every single piece has to be the same or not. It doesn't all have to be covered. It's not like that. Not like that at all. You want to have those deep, dark areas. You want to have those places of mysteriousness where you can't tell what's going on back in there, right? Now, we're going to need a little of our liquid white if we're going to want our highlights to stick onto all that thick paint. We're going to need to thin it down just a little touch with some liquid white. So I need to get some more in my little jar, or my lid anyway. I take it out of the jar and put it in a lid, just an old liquid white lid that I don't use anymore. And the only way, keep it in there like that, and that way it stays in a spot. I don't have to go back and contaminate my fresh jar of paint. And it just stays in our little petri dish, I call it. It's, I'm sure there's something growing in there by now. I'm almost positive. Almost positive of it. Now, we've got our deep, dark shadows, right? Our base shadow 2 is what I like to call it. shadow 2, then we go shadow 1, then we go highlights, then our tree is done, right? Shadow 2, shadow 1, highlights, tree is done. Let's remember that rhyming scheme, and then you'll know how to paint like Paint with Josh. Be very cool. I think off in the distance back here, I could sneak in just a little touch of like dark shoreline just from back there. You might never see it, but just for myself, just so it's a little, we can kind of tell what's happening back there a little bit. Very cool. Very cool. All right, now, this part we need to brighten up a touch more. Little splashies. Soften those guys down just a little. And then mix them up around the edges so you get that soft little misty feel to them. Very cool. Very cool. Now, let's go back to our liquid white, and we'll do our bushes first. We'll take our liquid white and our Paint with Bram 1-inch brush, and let's go into a little of our sap green, a little of our phthalo green, and down into that liquid white, maybe a touch of our dark color as well, just to keep it nice and dark, just like that. That foresty green color that we've been searching for this whole painting. Coming off of the back side of our bushes, so not every bush is gonna be the same thing, right? Maybe have a couple little bits off the back. That guy, the whole front side would be hitting, right? And have a couple little pieces off of here, maybe a couple down over there. Nothing too weird, nothing too full, because it's just the shadow 1, right? We had shadow 2, then we did shadow 1, then we go highlights, and then our tree is done, right? Don't make me repeat it too many times. I feel silly. I'm gonna take a little bit of that light color, a little bit of our green down in here. We want it to be extra bright, light green, right? Dabbing up into our little 1-inch brush, and now we're gonna come off the edges, not trying to cover all the dark areas, just trying to light it up a little bit. Light up little spaces where there'd be some extra bush into that little bit of shadow, maybe over here. Doesn't all have to be the same as they're all hanging out down there. And dab in a little bit more of our color, picking that up, come over here. Leaving little areas of light, little areas of dark. Nothing has to be the same. Doesn't all have to be lit up. Nothing all has to match. It's all good. There is no bush out there, no space in nature where everything is exactly the same. Just not gonna happen. Now, let's grab some of that liquid white. Go back into our little darker green pile over here. Right? You gotta have the right consistency, so don't have it be too wet. Don't have it be too kind of dry and thick either. That's not gonna be any good. Now, we'll come off the back side of our big old guy over here. Just kind of tapping out little spots, little deals, nothing too crazy as we go down. Little things. I like that Paint with Bram brush. It adds a cool little shape. Right? Pop out little guys over here just by turning the brush up the other direction, popping them out that way. Same thing off of our guy over here. Little bits going up, right? Not covering over all of the darkness because we don't have to. You don't want to cover over every single thing. That would be so bad if we did that. We'd have no more deep, dark areas where our little creatures can hide and stuff, right? Little things, the more we go down, the more you push on the brush, the more it kind of grows outward, covers over different places, droops down a little bit like that. Wipe off our brush, clean off all the deep, dark green, and we'll go back with some lighter color green. And we'll be all set, right? So, back in here again with that liquid white, a little bit of our green, just to brighten it up. Don't want it to be so super bright, you know what I mean? But it is a snowy scene, and the green is our snow. So, pop it on a little bit off to the side. Angle of the brush, most important. Flip it around. Go off to the edge. Just like that, right? Every so often you can crisscross onto the shadowy side. They shouldn't be too different. It should be very similar as far as the colors, right? You have a very light color, and then you got your very dark color. Well, I mean, not very dark, but your shadowier color. Come off the front side with this guy. A couple extra smacky smacks. Got our little tree out there, right? That's all you gotta do. Make the right amount of pressure with the right brush. You get your cool little thing to light up however you want it to be. Right over here, a little tap up against the side. A couple little bits of brightness on our tree. Doesn't have to show every piece. Right, back in here. And then this guy will go a little bit brighter off his brighter side. Sometimes we turn the brush. Boom, just like that. Very cool little trees, guys. Very neat. Simple, simple, right? You got these guys that are closer, and these guys are a little further away. You can tell by their sizes, by where everything is kind of hung out. Very, very neat. Now let's take this last little bit. Maybe we can get a couple little pieces of thing to grow down in there. Oh yeah, don't want it to be too bright. Don't want it to show too far. And if you get too far down into your water, just take it and mix it up a bit more. Push it back to wherever you want it to be. Slide this guy way back under there if you want, right? All depends on you, wherever you want to have yours. Just like that though, we got a very cool little painting, all in greens. Little Aurora Borealis nighttime mountain scene. It came out fantastic if you ask me. I mean, I'm a little biased, of course, but if you ask me, it came out pretty good. Pretty good. Let's wash off these brushes just to make sure my brand new Paint with Bram brushes are nice and clean and ready to be used again tomorrow. I don't want to have them get all hard and gross, that's for sure. So you guys got to start coming up with a name for this painting. I don't know if it's sold or not because we're streaming to all 3 platforms. It may have sold, it may not have sold. If it did, then the buyer has the right to be able to choose the title, and if it didn't, then I get to pick the title from any one of your guys' suggestions. So make sure you're typing in your suggestion for the title in the comments below. And if it hasn't sold, I get to choose. And if it has, then maybe the buyer will choose one of your titles as well. You never know. You never know. So let me get all cleaned up. You guys start coming up with names. Let me see if I can see any comments from my mod girls to see if we did sell the painting. If we didn't sell the painting, what's happening in the world of the online, where I have been disconnected from because I've been up here painting. Let's see. This painting is sold. Hey! So do we know who bought it? Is anybody fessed up to who has purchased the painting? Emerald Paradise. That's a great one, Sharon Rogers over there. Great one, guys. Great ones. Hey, Kylie. Emerald Mountain, Emerald Glow. Let's see, Melanie Grimes. I wish I bought it, says Palm. So we're going to have to confirm if it is Melanie Grimes. I think by that LOL, I don't imagine that she was being serious, which is why on a live show, it's kind of difficult to pin down who did it. So we're going to have to end one of the streams, unfortunately. I need a device. So that means our YouTube audience is probably going to have to say goodbye since our Facebook audience is much larger. But everybody watching over on TikTok and on Facebook, you'll be able to rewatch this entire stream, learn how to do this painting from start to finish, and in about, 48 minutes over on YouTube? So thanks for watching over on YouTube. We love you guys. You're my smallest baby audience, but I love you so much. I make the most money off of YouTube, so everybody go watch those YouTube videos. The ad revenue pays my bills. Seriously, if I didn't have that money, that chunk of money from YouTube every month, I don't know what I would do. So please, go watch the videos over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. It's free. And, watch my videos. The more time you spend watching commercials, the more money I make. That's about it. That's all you can do is just watch my stuff. So, love you guys over on YouTube. Thank you for all your suggestions. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you want to continue watching the show, make sure you head over to TikTok or you head over to Facebook and find me over there. It's Paint with Josh on Facebook and Paint with Josh K over on TikTok. So come find me and we'll finish the show. And until I see you guys over on YouTube next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And bye-bye. It's over. Get them out of here. I got to check my store. What's happening?